This is Lauren.
This is Trey.
And this
is the Partnership Podcast.
This week on the Partnership Podcast, me and the wife, we had a disagreement, but we came back to each other. We'll tell you how. We're talking sexual privacy, work-life balance within partnership, and porno. God, what a concept.
You know the song, There's Some Hoes in This House?
Yeah.
I was just going to sing, It's cold in this house. It's cold in this house.
That's good, honey.
Thanks.
There was one where there was a video where it was like a little child was singing. It's like, look, Mom, the holes in the house. Like, there's some holes in this house. It's like, where do you think the holes came from? It's like, there's some holes in this house.
It's a good tune.
Wet ass pussy. 7 days a week. Certified freak. It's a good song.
Is that the same song?
You fucking with this wet ass pussy.
No, WAP is not the same song as Hose.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense because wet ass pussy is WAP. But WAP is wet ass pussy.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to make any sense.
No, and then you don't want to get the sex educator talking about arousal non-concordance. So
we'll go ahead with arousal. How does wet ass pussy correlate with arousal non-concordance?
You really want to
get
nerdy?
A little bit closer.
Nerdy?
A little bit closer to your mouth, honey. There you go. Yeah, get it close to your mouth, babe. Put that fucking thing right next to your mouth. Yeah. Don't get it on your hair.
Crying. Tears of laughter. My goal to make it through 2 episodes without crying. Arousal non-concordance is this concept that sometimes the vagina lubricates even when it's not, like we've talked about this before, when it's not aroused. In most cases, the studied subjects are it's rape scenarios, so that's hard. But then the other time arousal non-concordance like kind of comes up is when a human being is turned on, but their vagina doesn't lubricate. It doesn't necessarily. So when their pussy's not wet, it doesn't mean that they're not interested in sex. And so many people will be like, "Well, why aren't you wet? Like, you should be ready for me." Do you like my? Do you like that?
Aren't you wet?
It's just. I mean, think about how many times people say it, like, you're so wet. And
we say it a lot.
Great. Arousal's wonderful. Depending on so many things, a wet ass pussy could not be present and somebody could be totally down to have a great time. That's your nerdy moment brought to you by
Hawk. Give me that hard ass cock. Hawk. Give me that hard ass cock.
Disturbing.
Bird sound effect. Hopefully an eagle. What are we talking about today, honey?
Is that a wait?
Or do you want to just end it there? Should we just end the podcast
there? We go. Your educational moment brought to you by Lauren and Trey's delusional
hard ass cock.
No, I want to talk about growth.
Sure.
Which we've already done an episode on growth inside of partnerships, but we were at the beginning of it.
Yeah. And
we have both run into some interesting things over this past weekend. We went out to dinner. It was very uncomfortable. And then everything around me, people are talking about the same exact things. I am not deep into numerology, but I like listen to stuff on it because I find it fascinating just to be aware of the world around me. And my favorite numerology chick podcast, shout out, just mentioned it too. Like what to do if you're growing and your partner is not on the same page. We had an instance this weekend. Do you want me to share my lived experience and then you can jump in?
Sure.
And share kind of what was going on. So I had one like late afternoon Friday client and was wrapping up my day, and I got a text from you of, hey, would you like to go to our favorite dinner spot? It was kind of a last minute thing, which you're not known to do anyway, except to like maybe 1 or 2 places. You like usually a plan. And I was like, oh yeah, that sounds great. I had already been talking with the baby about a dinner plan, but I checked in with her and I said, hey, this is a last minute change. Do you want to come with us? Do you want me to stay and make dinner with you? Because that's what we were talking about. And she said, no, why don't you guys go on a date? I'll make this here. This sounds good. So that had all happened. And then I got another text from you that was like, hey, leaving in 25 minutes if you want to come. And I thought, you know what? That's good because you can give the backstory on this. He's making his boundaries known. Great. like then was like prepped to have a good time. And I was like, I'm ready to go because I had a busy work day. So I was all dressed. It's like, great, ready to go. And then the whole dinner, the whole ride to dinner, the whole ride home from dinner, something was off. Like, and I couldn't tell what it was. And I felt like I was a burden to you, like just kind of in the way. And this is the same place, a local place that you'll go sometimes just to have some alone time.
Sure.
So I kept trying to figure out, like, did he was extending this invitation to me. He didn't really want me to say yes. He wanted me to say no and go by himself, but that's so not like you. So anyway, it was awkward. Then we started talking about porn in the car coming home, and I made a comment that was maybe hurtful, but it was received very hurtfully. And then there was like some defensiveness, and then we had yet another conversation when we got home. Oh, I had a really long day, and I said, like, you said something like, I'm going to go in and get in bed. And something about like prepping coffee, like, and you can prep coffee or something. And I was like, oh, something's up. Something's going on, because what should have been a more connecting moment, going to dinner, and like, we love going to dinner together, catching up, talking about the week, instead felt like I had just like rained on your parade. And so then we spent some time talking in the car, pushing in. It got better-ish. And yeah, we went on with our night. What was going on in that brain of yours? Give us the backstory.
Okay, so I was in the tub. It was Friday night, and I'm like, I want dinner. I want like this specific place. Let's see if Lauren. Sometimes you work like well into like Friday evening. So I texted you, and you said sure, and then my mind went to, because I already wanted to, like, I want to get out. I want to go to dinner. It's like, okay, I want to do this in a structured way. So my mind immediately went to, she's going to be late. So I started projecting like these negative thoughts onto you. And then it's like, you better not be late. And that was the text message where it's like, hey, I'm leaving in 25 minutes. Like, get on my page. You better not be late. And in my mind, I knew what I was doing. We had a fight maybe 6 months ago, maybe a year ago at this point, that actually involved this restaurant and actually going on time versus being late.
Yeah.
And me like relaying like, hey, I want to get in 5:30 to 6 so we can beat the dinner rush, the weekend dinner rush. And so I started thinking about that, and my mind got fast. And even when I went downstairs to like get you, I was still in the mindset of, you're going to be late. So yeah, you were a burden to me, not by any of your actions though. It was the emotions that I was stirring up in my own mind. It was wild. How powerful that I made this scenario, and then it stirred into everything was out on the counter prepared for taco night. Because then I went to, I'm fucking up plans that have already been established, and now Lauren's sacrificing for me. And I got reassured that that's not the case. And then the baby loves her alone time now. She's 12, by the way. When we say that, but we're just going to call it the baby. But she's forming into a fully functional adult.
She's 12 going on 45.
Yeah, she
loves her alone
But
time.
also, she's, 12. She can't clean up after herself, too. And she's, no, you're wrong. That's what comes out of her mouth. It's a fucked up age. So anyway, yeah. And I kind of felt like this. Yeah, it was like a guardedness, and then dinner was okay. Yeah, I kind of felt some of that, but we did get to connect. We were driving home. I made a comment on porn. I wanted to share something like exciting that I was watching with you, and then your comment was like, "Oh, you're back to watching porn every day?" That's what it was, and that's what made me immediately defensive, like I had done something wrong. But in reality, it was more of almost like a tease or kind of a question that you wanted to push into. But in my body, it was like, oh shit, great, I've done something wrong. And then we talked for, 20 minutes in the car until we finally had to get the fuck out of the car because we needed movement. Yeah. We needed air, we needed movement. And then I mean, literally, we walked into the backyard together. Like, you helped me with the trash cans. We walked into the backyard together, and then we hugged, reconnected. Yeah. We got into the kitchen. We kind of reaffirmed. I was doing a lot of apologizing. Like, parked in front of the house in the car, I was doing apologizing because I knew the cycle that I had initiated in my own mind. And so I wanted to verbalize that to you because you felt like you had done something wrong.
Yeah.
I default to anger, defensiveness. You default to like, oh, this is on me.
Mm-hmm. This place of overfunctioning. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, which is a function of overfunctioning. So we kind of shared our defaults, and I wanted to reaffirm that you had done nothing wrong. And then this is the pattern that I generated inside of my own mind. I conjured up all these emotions, and you reaffirm that you're not criticizing me, that this is like a joyous thing that I was sharing with you, like a sexually exciting thing, and that's okay. So you reaffirm that, and then you said it where that was the fastest that we came from there, that we went from conflict and we came back together in the matter of, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes, maybe 45. Yeah. But it was so quick. As soon as we got out of the car, as soon as we got some movement in.
You went somewhere. Maybe not. Maybe we started prepping coffee next to each other. Because the last thing that you had said in the car was kind of like, and then you can prep coffee.
Yeah, I didn't say it that. I didn't say, but I said it some way where you got defensive on the way I said it, which is natural. It makes sense. And then there was a bit of a tally because it was like, hey, I've done this the last 2 days. I've taken care of all like the baby pickup drop off. You know, I've like, hey,
right,
like support me here. But instead of saying, hey, asking a question, right. Yeah, I said it in kind of a roundabout way. So it's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, we've talked about this exact thing on the podcast before, that health and well-being of partnerships is not dependent on lack of conflict. It is so much more indicative of how they find their way back to one another. And the agility with which they repair. And that repairing, that noticing in our individual bodies, taking care of what was ours to own, the feelings that we were responsible for, and nothing else. But then finding our way back to one another with humility and understanding and responsibility and movement and space. Like it felt almost out of body in that we were both actively understanding this is what we need to help resolve this conflict. And I was actively fighting in me. It ain't your job. Like if there is a tally, right? Because what my body does from history is, oh my gosh, you're about to find out the laundry list of tallies again.
And there was a tally. It was, you've done this before in the past. Oh, I didn't even know that tally at the time. Talking about this actually right now in real time. Yeah, you've done this. We've had this problem before in the past, and you better not repeat it or some bullshit like that. Okay. So I guess there was a subconscious tally, and then the actual like, hey, can you take care of coffee and all this? That was like, hey, I'm done doing this. This is, you know what it was? I wanted to really like actualize my evening. I wanted my evening to go the way that I wanted it to go, come hell or high water. Yeah. And nobody better get in my way. Yes, can I share what's been going on like with me lately?
Yeah, I think this is go.
Yeah, I've been off the weed, and haven't been drinking. Like weed is much more, I show much more addictive tendencies toward marijuana. So I don't know how many days it's been, and that's how I soothe. I've been doing it since I was like 16. I'm 38 now. So that's how I celebrate. That's how I soothe. That's how I don't know, create. I use it for all these things, but it is the same old pattern. So right now I'm really into pattern breaking, kind of getting out of my old habits so I can develop new habits. Or another way of saying it is go into my supercomputer, into my processor, and start modifying programs. So I haven't And it's a part of my personality. Who the fuck wants to admit that? But like me getting high, it's a part of my personality. And I've built a fantastic life, and I love my fucking life, and it's not broken. And I don't, what am I trying to say? I'm actually trying to change things in a place of joy and abundance versus like, holy shit, this is a catastrophic, I've really fucked up. Yeah. And I know weed isn't heroin, but I'm on some, you know what it is? I'm on some different shit right now. And I'm trying to be fly as hell. So yeah, I'm trying to change my
You're
programming.
on brain shit.
So in a byproduct of that right now is my fucking mood is going up and down. It's been calm the last few days, or yesterday in particular, but my mood is flying all over the place. So thank you, honey, for like giving me the space to actually share that. Thank you for encouraging me. And thank you for being like, oh, okay, he's communicating with me.
Yeah.
And he's trying to do other things right now. And even though I kind of like, I kind of miss the old version of this, let's see what's on the horizon.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Because we've talked about this, that removing a coping mechanism can be so tricky because the body still needs ways to soothe, right? So what are the new ways that we're introducing to soothe? What would you say you're learning how?
Oh, meditate. How to meditate. How to actually do it in my imagination. How to go inside and not rely on external anything to soothe and heal and get better.
Yeah.
Not to distract, but to go inside. So I'm learning how to have a stronger mind.
In my world, we'd say like play and curiosity, right? Yeah, pleasure is the greatest antidote to pain is one of my favorite things in the world to say and learn about. And I think we have to be so careful when we're going to deprive the body of something.
Sure. But like what type of pleasure? Like,
right.
Amazon shopping? Like what type of pleasure?
No,
so I'm trying to go inside
Cool.
right now. So this is something I've never done before. So,
Yeah.
but I'm really excited to stay the course.
Yeah.
And then kind of, because I mean, the body, I'm realizing that my body has driven so much of my being over the last 3 decades or 2.5 decades since I've been kind of an adult. So I'm learning how to like, hey, the mind's in charge. You follow me, body. We're going to get on the same page.
I hope you don't lose. You have such beautiful instincts. I hope it's like
I'm hoping they just get stronger. And more
or
honed.
like on a parallel path, or like side by side in tandem together. I hope it's just that they fall in sync because your instincts are so good. Like I have bragged before about your body does know when to rest. So I hope it just learns how to use different tools.
I'm just excited to do different things right now.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I think that's really cool. And I think I've compared it to a little bit, though, when before, and our audience might have experience with this, you've done like a fast, right? You did one of those, like a cleanse.
Master cleanse. I'm a proponent of the master cleanse.
Yeah, and you've done it for
9 days.
Yeah.
When we were together.
And that was not fun because the moods were just not fun to be a part of. This was so much different. This is not like that. Like, I need to be very clear with you. This is not, you are in such a different mind space. During Master Cleanse, it was like right before, it was February 2020. So we had been together in the same town for a whole month, right? So we didn't know each other that well. And you're in a new place. You didn't have any of your things. Yeah, it was almost like I just wanted to stay away from you. You were just in a state of kind of like mad and on edge all the time. This is not like that. This is like you're hyper aware of your mind and your tendencies and your behaviors and your habits. And this one's super cool. This is like, I don't know. getting
babe.
to watch something really cool.
Thanks.
But yeah, it was very difficult to be on the outside of an experience and not know what was going on. So thank you for kind of like cluing me into that. Yeah. And meanwhile, on the same page, I've been trying to find a place of balance in my work-life existence, work-family life existence. And that's been funny because as you've been like dialing in, I've been trying to, I almost keep thinking of elements where you've been trying to become more fire. I've been trying to become more water or something like this. I need more like swoosh right now because I have been so dialed in to building this business, and I'm trying to find a place of rest in my spaces. I don't take a lot of spanking. I was going to do it. I was going to not cry. My tendency is never going to be to not push. Like I'm such a pusher. It's funny. I'm more comfortable in my masculine energy. I have to work into my feminine energy, and yeah, finding that balance while not hearing the voices in my head that are like, but if you do that, you'll like lose the work. Like you got to keep driving for the work. Like, all these like voices of productivity and push in my head are really loud. And so it is interesting to be in this space and partnership right now. We had an instance last night where I kind of like burst into tears.
Talk about it. Before bed, talk about it.
Yeah, your Mondays are big work days, and you get excited for them. You get really excited for them, and I love that. And historically, I've gotten up and done them with you, but I'm really trying to find a space in my week right now for rest, and Mondays seem to be the best days because I'm working into the weekend now. And so that means that we're having to find a different space on our Sunday nights. And last night, I didn't even tell you this. You were like, you like turned off our TV show and was like, and what time are you getting up? Can we get up at 5:30 and blah, 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 blah. And my whole nervous system like had a freak out because I've been trying to view my Sunday nights as like my beginning of my weekend. Like, and I know everybody knows that feeling of like, I don't have to get up in the morning. Like I could do anything in the morning. And it's not really true. Like I had to put my kid on the bus at 7:19. Like, but it's a mind trick, right?
Sure.
It's like telling the mind. And also, I still like to get up early. And also, but it's like these things that just say to my brain, hey, it's your weekend. Yay, party time. I don't mind still being in bed, but it was this like parental feeling like, okay, bedtime. And my whole body was like, no, I don't want to go to bed now.
Yeah.
I like started crying. What I wasn't showing you is like I was having like a little panic attack.
I felt it.
Okay. What did you feel on the other side?
I felt you having a panic attack.
I'm trying to find rest. And when others around me are working, I have a very hard time finding rest.
Okay.
Yeah. You need to keep working. This is just the challenge that I'm experiencing in my body, is that when I was little, if I like sat down while the house was at work, my mother would be like, what are you doing? And I think inside I'm worried that you're going to be like, what are you doing? Like it's work day.
Okay.
Right. You're not going to do that.
But I mean, did I do that last night?
No.
Yeah.
No, you were like, and I even
Just tell everybody about my virtue.
You're like, as long as someone else talks about it. No, you hate it when I do this. No, I even journaled about it this morning that I think I was afraid that you would say something. I don't even know what I was afraid you were going to say. Not something you'd ever say. No, but instead you were like, babe, turn the TV back on. This is your weekend. Do whatever you want to do. Turn on the lights. It's totally fine. Like the other night you did, I was like, I'm really tired because I had clients the next day. Might have been that very same Friday night, honestly, once we repaired and we were in bed watching our Project Runway. Shout out to the old seasons. And yeah, I didn't feel any kind of way about you staying up and me going to bed because I had to get up the next morning to do client homework. I have a hard time. I have a hard time giving virtue to rest because it was labeled laziness in my home growing up. Newsflash, rest is not laziness. And all of my clients know what a proponent I am of it. And I can do well for like a week.
It was a surprising reaction, but I didn't internalize it as something that I did wrong. I had to you didn't do anything wrong. It was a surprising reaction, though.
Like sobbing over on the left side of the bed.
Correct.
Oh, and then I poked you in the eye.
Yeah, you poked me in the eye also.
Could I share why?
Can I do it? I was trying to say I'm sorry by kissing on your pussy a little bit. And then, almost like I tickled you or something, you just poked me in the eye real quick. Mm-hmm. And then
my nervous system was not in a sexual place.
Yeah. And my urge to lick a Saurus Rex was gone then also.
It was met with ha!
Yeah, well,
what are you doing?
I got poked in the eye. Uh-huh. So.
But to be fair, I was wearing sexy lingerie.
This is also a version of it where it's I turned off the TV and then I got assaulted. So that is a version of it, but I'm not interested in pressing charges or anything like that. Good. I just want to move on amicably.
I mean, I guess you could hang off of me.
So it was, yeah, but it was something, I guess we got to talk out, and then I just got to hold space for you. And then we worked it out. It was worked out. We worked it out. It was worked out. But it was surprising. And holy shit. Relationships are work sometimes. I mean, holy fucking shit.
And so this is interdependence, right? Of you are your own person. Mm-hmm. Friday night was all your own shit. Mm-hmm. It had little to nothing to do with me other than I had a history once of really fucking up going out to a date at that restaurant before. Other than that piece of the puzzle had so little to do with me the whole Friday evening thing.
Correct.
Right? As last night, same exact thing.
So little to do with me.
So little to do with you.
Because you were your own person.
Yes.
I was not saying we need to go to bed, and then I was not saying you need to get up at 5:30 in the morning, where you could have said, it's no, this is my Saturday. I'm going to sleep in. I go, great. And if I were to turn off the TV, it's ooh, I want to keep watching. I go, great.
Right.
I would have gone to bed.
Right. Mm-hmm. That had so little to do with you. And the tears that sprung out of nowhere that I was not expecting, also nothing to do with you.
You're a crier, though, so I'm used to it at this point.
Right now, I am trying to figure out, talk about alternate coping mechanisms, care for self. I have a lot of beautiful relating during the week, my work week now. And I don't know what to do by the weekend. I am related out. There is no more relating that I have capacity for. And so the tears last night, I was journaling about this in my morning pages, were, I am so spent, I don't know what to do. If I have to, I don't know what to do. And so in my pages this morning, I was like, well, yes, you do. You need time alone. And it's amazing how fast I can restore if I give myself those times alone. I truly can do that. And I'm going to need to be more productive. I just am. But the weekend ended up being a lot of peopling too. And I'm just going to have to change a behavior, a pattern. And what a happy problem, right? What a happy problem that, I don't know, you said a year ago that I would be in this exact place, that I would need to figure out how to balance things. I'm used to being the friend that people can come to kind of get wisdom from, and I'm feeling the need to have to shift that because by the end of a work week, I can't do that anymore. And that's really hard. This feels like a grieving process. Because I can go laugh and play. I can go to, like, going to a show. The Charlotte trip felt really good. You know, like, things like that feel playful. But being like more, like, literally makes me panicky. Like, there is a feeling inside right now that feels very interesting.
Yeah, you have to listen professionally now.
Yeah. And it's my honor.
You have to be present professionally now. And
It is my honor.
Yeah,
And it is my favorite thing.
you're changing people's lives for the better. Yeah, so you have to be more guarded of your time now.
Yeah.
And then, actively rest.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then reconnect to, I guess, nature and the universe versus tech or
That has
other people.
That's been fascinating every week. You know, on Sundays, I don't know if your iPhone does this. Mine, like, tells me how much time I've spent on my phone.
Yeah.
And it's, like, dropping significantly.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good.
And I think that's out of A, busyness, which is great with clients, and then B, it is the most draining thing to my nervous system. It is so much better for me to be outside, and away from my phone, reading, writing, sleeping.
How do you recharge?
Me, three different ways. Alone time like this, which I think is also probably why Friday was so painful to me, is that, like, you charge me. And so I think going on a date with you to one of our favorite places is, like, one of my favorite things in the world, because it is reinvigorating to me. And so then when I felt off balance, I was like, I don't know what to do. And then time, like, going to in a group where I can get all the different energies, right? Which is why sometimes I go to a public space to do even homework or emails, because if I can hear the chatter in the background, it's very, like, energizing to me. So those three ways: time alone, time one-on-one with people who charge me, and time in public spaces, but also outdoors. I mean, I went to the mountains last week. We finished recording and I went to the mountains.
That's right,
Yeah.
I didn't see it till that evening. That's great.
So I am trying to practice what I know, and just like you're finding in new seasons, it's okay if it's okay if it takes work, right? Like, the good things in our lives don't always come easily.
Most of the good things don't. It's maybe like a universal law that doesn't come easily. Or I don't know, it can come easily, but then you need to have the patience. Or what is it? You're an overnight success 20 years later.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Because I think sometimes those things can fall into place, right? I'll often say that the things that are meant for us feel as easy as pulling a book off the shelf. But to continue this analogy along, we had to have put the book on the shelf in the first place.
That all sounds very easy. Like putting a book on a shelf and taking it off the shelf. So it's probably a bad example.
Thanks. I think it's, this is how I feel when I'm with my clients, but this is a good example of when they ask a question, pose a question, the answer comes out of me like taking a book off a shelf.
Cool.
And I went to school for this. I have read a bazillion books for this. This is like my nerdy favorite thing to research, right? Like constantly reading journal articles. So all of that work needed to happen for it to feel like I'm pulling a book off a shelf.
Sexuality, education, and therapy is your fantasy football.
Yeah. Nobody's going to know what the fuck you mean.
People
what does
know
that mean?
Well, it's what you love to nerd out on, and you're passionate about it, and then you've made your passion your profession.
Yeah. And fantasy football's that to you? Yeah. How long was that?
No, not really.
How long was that document that you were reading?
What?
That thing.
The Matt Waldman RSP, available at mattwaldman.com.
Yes, that. How long is it?
It's like 1,100 pages.
I came in the other day and you were just reading with nerdy delight. I was like, oh my God.
It's a rookie scouting portfolio, and he's our best hitter as far as in the fantasy community. where he has the ability similar to like NFL scouts. So he's our number one soldier. I feel like we're getting off track though.
No, it is a good correlation because that brings you joy to read about. Like no one was forcing you to read that. No. You were like nerding out. And no, that's me with sex research, and that's me with podcasts and books, and shout out Hemlock and all of the things I love to do that are a part of my work. They are a joy, and I am responsible for me and finding the things that are playful and apart from work so that work doesn't burn me out.
So we're responsible for ourselves, and then we're responsible within our relationship.
Yeah.
And then it's about interdependence, not codependence.
Yes.
And then we talk it out. And then we share scary things too.
Yeah.
Then that seems to heal when things get off track or things get unaligned or, when I fuck up.
Can we talk a little bit about what buttons I pushed with the porn thing? Can you help me there support better, use different, yeah. What did you feel like I said?
It was the tone. It was just the tone. It was a tone of how I perceived it was like I'm getting criticized for it. Or it immediately just made me feel defensive because it was just the tone. It was the question.
Okay.
And I know the history where it's still kind of a soft or kind of a hard topic for you. And then it's like what the fuck? Like you do this for a living and I get criticized for it. And then it was, I said something vulnerable and then I was met with criticism.
Okay.
Yeah. And I know that wasn't your intention.
No.
Like I know that wasn't your intention,
so
but that's how I perceived it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no. How it was intended was, yes, definitely as a joke, because even on this podcast, we've talked about how you were off porn and all your thoughts on porn. So did I mean to like tease a little bit? 100%. I just think it definitely shows what a tender subject sexual content still is in all of us. It's inherently vulnerable, and to be made fun of for our sexual preferences, even by partner that we love the most, partner who's a sexuality educator, partner who's sex positive, is still tender. It just is. Your body interpreted it as though I was, criticizing and being mean. And that is not what it was intended at all. What was intended was, we love sharing sexual fantasies. We'll share, like, if one of us had a personal masturbatory moment, we'll be like, yes, I did. And let me tell you what I was thinking. And that's one of my favorite things that we do is like, with permission to be like, hey, no sexual privacy, please. Like, I'd like to keep that alone. We'll usually share. We'll usually ask, would you like to share what you were thinking about? Because sexual privacy, I think it's back to our feelings, back to being responsible for ourselves. You're responsible for your sexual health and well-being, as am I. So I don't want you to ever feel like you have to confess what was in that dirty, wonderful imagination of yours. But it is a delight to know about. And that's what I was trying to say was, oh my God, you're watching porn again? Like, can you tell me? I'd love to know what you're watching. I'd love to hear how you're feeling about from being off of it to being on it. Is it different now? Because I think you're using our site that we love so much. I meant to be curious, and instead I came off as critical, which was so unfortunate. And I'm just sorry about that, babe. That is not what I meant. There's definitely still that piece of me that was brought up to think it was of the devil.
Yeah.
That's like a belief. My clients and I will talk about this lodged back here. It's not a belief I hold anymore, but it stays in my body sometimes. So it's probably where the tone came from, even though I don't believe it, especially this platform.
Okay. So this platform, I've said it in the past where like porn is like McDonald's for the brain.
Yeah.
And this platform is a well-balanced meal for the brain where it's still porn, but can I share the name?
Yeah. Because
so
we can't link it in YouTube. We
Okay.
can link it somewhere else.
Got it.
People can DM us or message us.
Cool.
Yeah.
Or it's ersties.com and jump in whenever you want to. But this is a site that's run by women.
Mm-hmm.
It's the crew is women. These are all consenting. Like everybody gets paid. Like there's before care, there's after care that's filmed. And it's like after you watch it, it just leaves you with a much better feeling.
Yeah.
This is so nice. And it's so playful and it's so joyous. And it's like porn I've never ever seen before. It's great.
Sometimes we'll call it feminist porn in that the true like definition of the word feminism is kind of like the
There's a female energy behind it.
there is, but the word feminist is really cool if you do like the true Merriam-Webster look into it. It's kind of like the dismantling of all systems that were harming anyone, right? So there's just this like curiosity to the whole thing. Yeah, go to their Instagram. It's fascinating to watch the director talk about the behind the scenes and the different ways that even ideas for different scenes are even brought up, right? And that, yeah, it doesn't feels really human.
The time I was off porn, it was approximately a month. Like commercial grade porn.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about this, and then I looked at it more, and it's so much better. And I haven't gone back to commercial grade porn, nor do I really want to. And then the volume of me watching it is way down since I've reintroduced it. What am I trying to say? This is just better. And the fact that we get to almost share this together now, this is something that I'm excited to share with you, makes it that much more better.
Interesting.
So this is a paid site. This is behind a paywall, and it's just their content exclusively, and it's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. I think more than anything, I love when we discuss things and have conversations about things. And I think what felt off in my body that you probably felt too in the car when we were having this conversation was a feeling of like, why didn't you tell me? Right? Which was misplaced. And I apologize for
And
that.
that probably could have been asked like the week or two, because I said I opened up an account and I sent you the account details, but that was about a week ago. That was a week before that happened. So yeah.
Sorry.
Thank you.
It's on me.
Thanks.
Again, my feelings that I'm responsible for. And yeah, it just shows, right, in partnership that we'll always be discovering new things. And when we're breaking into new things, right, in essence, I have changed a whole belief system that I was raised to believe that porn was of the devil, right? And so I have changed a belief system and had done that prior to meeting you, but putting it into practice of continuing to trust you and also have the natural right? You be responsible for your own sexual self. It's just a daily practice still that I hope it's helpful for others to see that I, the sexuality educator, messes up. I mess up due to my own programming. And it's kind of like the theme of this whole little conversation today is that you and I are both actively
Reprogramming.
Yeah. And inside of partnership, which ain't easy all the time. And
it's downright scary. 'Cause we're used to what we're used to, and that's, how we fell in love with each other, and that's why we got married. So change is hard. And I'm sure people go through it, say, when they get sober. And they've had all these past experiences, all these wonderful experiences with their friends, getting drunk and so change is, it's scary. Push into scary things, though.
yeah, it was
We
really
got to push
helpful.
into scary things. That's how we continue to be successful in whatever the fuck we're doing.
The day after our argument, you sent me a text the next morning. You were playing golf. You also had all these emotions come out while you were golfing. And you took the time to send me a text to say that the emotions that came out that night before, some of the similar emotions were coming out on the golf course. And that was so freeing for me because it showed me, yeah, this is something that is going on in his mind and his life as he's reprogramming his brain. This has nothing to do with you. Like, give him space, give him support, be his biggest cheerleader, be curious, be inquisitive, tell him, say ouch. Like if something hurts, say ouch. Like that is always my responsibility. And that's, I think, what our conversation in the car was like, ouch, have I done something? But other than that, thank you for that. That was very helpful when you drew that parallel. These things are happening on the golf course too. Mm-hmm. I went, oh yeah, this ain't about me. Mm-hmm. This is about what's going on in his body. And I think that is a helpful thing partners can do of, oh, hey, this is showing up here too. Mm-hmm. It's not you, oh, problematic person in my life who's like getting in the way. Because sometimes when we're changing a behavior, we can want to blame, right? Well, if you just get out of my way, and that's what my body wanted to do last night. Oh, well, if you just wouldn't control me, I could have more rest. No. Mm-hmm. No, that's Lauren. That's not what this is about.
Yeah.
Right? Like, but blaming, sometimes we can be, anger is a motivating, like, emotion. And so sometimes we will conjure that up and put it in the wrong place.
Yeah, the person we really need to blame is ourselves.
Good life advice from Trey. Get angry at self.
Yeah, just get angry at self. Okay.
Yeah.
Love you the most, babe.
Thanks for this. Proud of you. I really am.
Yeah, thanks. Right back at you.
I really am. We're doing this, and it's an honor to watch you growing and becoming. It's really freaking cool.
Love you.
Thanks so much for watching or listening to this episode of the Partnership Podcast. As a reminder, everything that you hear on the Partnership Podcast is an opinion, and just an opinion. We encourage you to do your own research as we do ours, and view this more as a how we podcast as opposed to a how to podcast. And just a little shout out to Spotify for Podcasters. It is the platform we use to produce this podcast. And if you head on over to Spotify for Podcasters, you can learn more. Have a great day. If you or your partner are interested in learning more about Sex Ed for You, my holistic sexuality education business, feel free to go on over to www.sexedforyou.com/free consult. I would love to get to know you, hear what's going on in your personal life, and see how we might be able to work together. If you are not in a place where you're interested in individual sexuality education, but are looking to grow, I do have a monthly membership program called Hemlock. And you can learn more about that by going to sexedforyou.com/Hemlock. Let me know if you have any questions, and be sure to like and subscribe.